pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Hello, Bo. Good. Board of Adjustments is a 9-member board. We're appointed by the City Council. We serve on a voluntary basis without any compensation. Our procedure for conducting business is I'll call the petitioner's name. If you will, please come to the mic. Please present your purpose for being here and be prepared to answer any questions that any member of the board may have. Once we receive public testimony on a particular item and that has concluded, members of the board deliberate, we will render our decision. I'll remind the members with a personal or financial interest in any particular item, you're required to recuse yourself from voting. Any testimony submitted by the petitioner or on behalf of the petitioner during presentation of the agenda item will be binding as to any decision the board makes relative to the motion. I'll remind the board members that any motion to deny an item, in the event a motion is made to deny an item, a reason must be given. This time I'll introduce the members on the board, and we have a full board tonight. Ms. K.T. Brown, our Vice Chairman, Mr. Steve Hughes, Mr. Nathan Williams, Mr. Bo Holmes, Ms. Jennifer Shaw, Mr. Bart Prince, Mr. Pickett Reese, Mr. George Howell Jr., and I'm John Stanley, your chairman. Our planning control staff that are here tonight, Mr. Robert Smith, Director of Planning, Mr. Thomas Tyson, our Executive Secretary, Mr. James Center, Ms. Tanya Ingham, with our planning departments. Are there any questions? It takes 5 votes to approve a motion. So, and we got plenty of folks here tonight, so that should not be a problem. Any questions? There are 4 items on the agenda tonight. Tanya, I assume there's been no withdrawals that you're aware of? Okay. That being the case, we will hear item number 1, which is presented by Ms. Nardo Hidalgo. Mr. Hidalgo, requesting a special exception for an accessory structure without a main dwelling and a coverage variance for the accessory structure to be located at 2711 Old Selma Road in an R75S zoning district. Mr. Hidalgo, tell us what you'd like to do and what you intend to put in that storage building, in the accessory structure. And you might pull that mic up to you so we can hear you plainly.
Oh, hold on.
Is it not on?
There you go.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. What I'm trying to do is build a garage. It's a 2-door garage. I have an abode and a couple utility trailers full of tools. I used to have a bike, but last week somebody took it, a Yamaha, and one lawnmower. I'm gonna start fencing the land on the front right now. I got the poles already set up on it. And I put another section of the poles in the middle side. And today in the morning, the electrical company put a security light on it. It's already done. Yeah, I'm going to test it tonight if I'm working on that.
They put a security light on what?
To light the yard.
They put a security light at the yard, but not on the building.
No, it's not behind the building. It's
The building
right
not there yet, correct?
No, the building is not there yet.
Okay.
I need the permission first.
Okay. Well, believe it or not, we get people come in all the time and they got the building there without permission.
I hear about it. I say, I don't want to risk it.
Sure.
It's money. The security light is like 150 feet in. My property is 250 back in. And the poles is when you're walking in the right-hand side. It's already done. They done it today. The building is going to be built by Alabama Steel.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's 2-door garage. It's a simple garage.
Okay. So tell us what you intend to put in this garage building.
Principal, my boat. It used to be my bike, but it's going. And then I got a business trailer full of the tools. I used to do cable with Charter Communication, my contractor company, and I have a trailer as all my cable stuff in there. That's what I want to storage in there in that building, which is going to be a garage.
Okay. Well, why are you not putting this on a lot that has a main structure?
The lot, the what?
Why are you not putting this on a lot that has a main structure? In other words, a house?
No, I don't have a.
You don't have the
a
house,
place.
do
I don't
you?
have a place for it. That's because when I look in those lots on it and I buy it.
Right. Well, you understand that's why you're here.
Yeah, I here for give the permit for build the
Yeah,
garage.
but the reason you're here, you want to put a 2,400 square foot structure on a
Well-
lot that does not have a main dwelling. You understand?
Yeah, but I say
Okay.
it can be less than that. I looking on the price.
Well,
That
you
was.
still don't have a main structure. a main
Oh no
dwelling.
no no! It's not a house in there. It's empty.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions, board members?
Mr. Chairman, could you repeat what he's going to put in there?
Would you repeat again what you planning to put in there, Mr. Hidalgo?
A garage. It's a two-door garage. It's
A
a.
two-car garage. and
Two-door
I believe
garage.
You're going to put a boat in there, correct?
It's going to be put my boat inside and my working trailer, business trailer. It's a small trailer. It's a 4x8 with a 2-liter on top on it for business.
Okay.
I have a question.
Steve?
Do you intend to build a house on this lot?
I can't lie to you, not right now. Probably in the future, but I don't have intention to build a house. If I tell you yes, I'm lying.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Question.
George?
Did you buy this lot with the intention of using it for storage?
I don't call it storage. I call build a garage to put my stuff inside.
Okay. Did you know it was zoned residential, meaning that it should have a house and it probably did at one time and it's not there anymore?
After I buy the property was a good deal. The person that buy the property paid $10,000 and he sell to me for $6,000.
Okay.
I got a $6,000 in my pocket. I get it, but he never tell me the truth about the rezone and all this stuff. I see a lot of trailers in the next corner. When I see the neighborhood, I say, well, I think it's not a problem to build something security in my yard. Later on, when I start working on it, I found that all the issues about structure area, they say something about they put trailers in there and I don't know if it was the board or Montgomery taking the trailer out or something, but I don't have an idea to put anything except one garage,
Right.
one decent garage.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Being
Ms. Ryan.
that this is in the neighborhood that it is in, did we have any complaints from the neighbors?
I don't know. We had any complaints, Mr. Center?
None that I was seeing.
Yeah, but.
But we got
it-
one,
Okay, I'll get to you in a minute. I'll give everybody an opportunity, but I guess there's no complaints because it's not constructed yet.
Okay.
But I can say something about it.
Sure.
Even the church, the pastor, he stopped this morning and him and his wife, and probably more than 5 or 6 neighbors. They come and see the sign for the board and ask you what I'm going to build in there. I say, well, I'm going to ask you for the permit for build garage, and they see my fence and the stuff that's working on it. One of the neighbors say, well, I'm assuming it's going to be a good garage because you're using good material for the front fence. I'm using a stainless steel post.
Well, let me clarify for the board, to make sure everybody understands. We're not dealing with the fence.
No, I know
That's
that,
a totally
but
different issue, okay?
The neighbor no
We're
complain.
dealing with the 2,400 square foot accessory structure without dwelling.
well,
That's what we're dealing with, okay? Any
When-
other questions?
I don't understand when you say we outdwell. Like what?
Beg your pardon?
You say something, we outdwell, like what do you call dwell? Dwell.
Dwelling.
What that mean?
A dwelling, a house.
Oh, okay,
A
gotcha.
house where somebody lives.
That's the reason you're here. You're wanting to put an accessory structure on a residential lot that has no dwelling.
Well, the idea to build on the end of the lane is to give it the space in case
Well, I understand.
my economy changes.
You want the structure, you want the accessory structure before the dwelling.
Yeah, okay,
And that's why you're here,
I got you.
okay? Any other questions, board member?
Why does he need it so big? I mean, a normal garage is only 450 square feet.
Still.
What's the zone?
But that only applies to town structure. Yeah, it wouldn't matter. You know, if it had a structure on it, the allowed square footage of the accessory structure would exceed the
Okay.
All right, any other question, board members?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Shaw?
Pull your mic. Pull your microphone too.
The picture that we have here, is that an exact picture of what you're going to construct?
Yeah, that's the building they selling. This is Alabama Metal. It's right there in Highway 31 and corner.
Right, but is this approximately the size of it and the way that it's going to look once it's constructed?
Except the door. This is facing like there. I'm going to face the side, and the door is going to be in the side instead of being in the front. That is the building they build for the money that we deal with it. The door, the two double door garage is going to be on the side.
On the side where the entry door is?
Yeah.
Is-
Okay. The building is like this, and this is my front yard to the street. It's going to be like this, side to side. So
Okay.
the corner on the roof is going to be side to side.
Oh, okay.
It's 30 by 40. The 40 is going to be side to side. The 30 is going to be back.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Sir, would you like to come up and speak for or against this item?
30 by 40 is not 2,400 square feet.
Good afternoon.
Need to state your name, please, sir. and
Tony Richards.
Tony Richards?
Yes.
Your address, please, sir.
I'm sorry?
Your address, please.
3140 Old Summer Road.
Okay.
The reason why I'm here is to contest this request in that this is a residential area, and there are those of us who live in the neighborhood are doing all that we can to try to get the neighborhood up to better standards, and to put a structure on a empty lot, in my mind, only devalues the property further.
Okay.
And so I am not in support of it.
You're against this request?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience care to address this item? Sir, have you got anything you want to say to that? And then I'm going to ask for a motion. I guess you don't.
I have a, go ahead.
I don't think he understood you.
I don't think,
All right,
I don't
Ms. Shaw,
think.
go ahead.
Okay, but my question was, did I understand you to say that it's gonna be 40 by 30?
Yeah.
Okay, but what it says here is 40 by 60, which is 2,400 square feet, and 40 by 30 is only 1,200 square feet. That's a big difference.
Okay. And what is the? I can go with the side.
It's still an accessory structure regardless of the size.
But I just wanted to clarify that, because this is what we have on our agenda, that it says 40 by 60, and you said that it's gonna be 40 by 30.
Let me look at it. Maybe I forget this.
One second. Ms. Shaw, it's still an accessory structure regardless of the size.
Yes, I understand that.
She's right. It's by 60. 60 is going to be side. 40 is going to be back.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I have a question.
All right, Steve.
Okay. Not of him, but just to be sure I understand. This property is zoned R75S, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I'm looking at our diagram of all the lots. It looks like you've got R75S basically across the street, and you have a few larger lots on this side of the street. And then there's R99S, and I am not sure what R99S is.
R99S is a single-family mobile home lot. Mobile home lot.
Okay, so that's what is behind this. Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Okay? Are there any further questions? If not, and if anyone else care to address this item? Chair will entertain a motion.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Brown?
I move that we not approve this special exception for this dwelling to go there. Within the city, it's next door to neighbors who live there, and I can see where they're trying to improve the neighborhood, and as I went and looked at it, I don't see that it would be proper for us to allow him to place that accessory structure there.
Okay. Tanya, is that a good enough explanation on the denial? Okay. You satisfied with that? You satisfied with that? All right, we have a motion to deny based upon the reason given by Ms. Brown.
Second.
We have a second.
Second. Or,
Mr.
let
Hughes?
Nathan. can do
Mr.
it.
Williams? Okay, Mr. Williams made a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of denying this request, please raise your hand. Ms. Shaw? All opposed? Okay. 8-1. Sir, you're denied that request.
Thank you so much.
We'd love to entertain in the future of considering something along the same lines, but with a dwelling.
I don't know. You steal my lock.
Yes, sir.
That's all.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. Item number 2 is presented by Baker Donaldson, representing EchoSite, requesting an exception to Smart Code for a wireless telecommunications facility to be located at 860 Grove Street in a T4R Smart Code zoning district.
Good evening. I'm Andy Rotenstrike here on behalf of EcoSite. I have with me Mr. Alan Stewart from Hutchinson Street Baptist Church. Also, Ms. Annie Williams. She didn't want to come up with us, but Ms. Williams is here as well in support of the application. We are proposing a 155-foot monopole, a single pole type structure for the church parking lot. It will have a 10-foot lightning rod on the top, which you see sticking up there. T-Mobile will be the initial anchor tenant, which is indicated in red. The tower will be built strong enough to accommodate additional carriers, so when other carriers decide they need the capacity relief or the coverage in this area, they'll just be able to hang their antennas on this tower and not need to come before you to ask for another tower. As with all towers, we first look to see if there's an existing tower that we can use in the area. There actually is a tower right across the highway at Alabama State University, their radio tower, which we approached them to see if T-Mobile could co-locate on that tower. They have apparently, ASU has been approached several times about using that tower, and they just have not let anybody use it. So we were denied that opportunity. So because there was no other structure that we could use, our only alternative was to request to build this tower. Looking at the Montgomery Smart Code, we think we meet the requirements for an exception. I'll be happy to show you the coverage maps if you'd like to see them. I think James and Tanya have pretty much given you most of the information, but if you have any questions, I'll be happy to try and answer.
Andy, just from my point of information, what do you do about the lighting at the top of this tower?
So this tower will not be lit. The FAA
Not required to be?
That's right. The FAA requires towers over 200 feet to be lit, and this one's going to be under that.
Okay. So it's monopole, no guy wires.
Yes, sir.
The access road goes back out to South Jackson, I believe?
Yes, sir, it does.
All right. Tell, is the road a gravel road back out to South Jackson Street?
It will, we'll be using the access through the parking lot. So,
Okay.
it's already paved.
It's paved?
Yes, sir.
So we're not having to deal with the potential of gravel from a gravel area getting
Exactly.
out into Jackson Street?
That's correct.
Okay, you're going through the existing parking lot?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Okay. Any questions, board members?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
How tall is
The
this
pole,
structure? Yes.
the pole's going to be 155 feet, and then the 10-foot lightning rod on top.
Okay. Any other questions, board members? Anyone in the audience care to address this item?
Will you entertain a motion?
Anyone care to address this item? Chair will entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any further questions or discussions? All in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good job.
Thank you.
Have a safe trip back, Andy.
Thank you very much. Y'all have a good evening.
Item number 3 is presented by Kanika Ross Thompson, representing Transitions Technical College, requesting a special exception to operate a private school to be located at 1004 Monticello Court in an M1 zoning district. Ms. Thompson?
Hi, how are you guys?
Good.
I'm here. My school is already on Poplar Street. I'm existing already. I've been in business for 3 years, and we're outgrowing the space, and the area is getting a little pretentious over there, so it's time for us to make a move. But of course, I had to come down and get approval to operate a private school in that location before I could actually go to the board or obtain a licensure to do it. So you guys already have the proposed lot. I did let Tanya and Mr. Center know that contingent on me being approved, that we would pave out the front lot and the back lot for parking. And it's lighting on the outside and the back that the owner has already provided, so it's well lit in the cul-de-sac.
So the additional parking you will add will be paved?
Yes, it'll be paved.
No gravel parking?
No gravel. No gravel.
No gravel. All right, now, these hours of operation, because you have a lot of residential people around that property.
Well, we're in the
know.
cul-de-sac, so there's no houses right there. It's
Yeah, but
apartment complex
you
on the
got
other side.
apartments close by.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's apartment
And
complex. Yeah,
so-
we stop at 9:30 at night.
You
We have-
stop at 9:30?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so the parking lot should be cleaned out, cleared
By-
out
Before 10 o'clock.
before 10 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you gonna have enough parking?
Yes. Generally, we only have at the max, about 15 students, and we only have 3 staff members. So it'll be more than enough parking in the front and the back to suit everyone. And
Okay.
we'll, probably like 15 day students and 15 night students.
Just be sure you have enough on-site parking,
Yes,
even though you are in the cul-de-sac,
I got you.
you cannot park in the street.
Oh, yeah,
You know, you gotta park on the side.
and you can't park in that street, like it's not conducive of parking on that street, really.
I know, but people do park when there's no
Okay.
place else to park. They'll park in the street, so I'm just making that part of the record,
Got you,
okay?
got you.
Any questions, board members?
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Howell?
Oh, how
Ms.
much
Brown.
parking do you have?
Ma'am?
How much parking do you have?
It's just grass right now, so the guy
You
who
have
can...
none?
No, there's no parking right now. There's parking in the rear. The building right next to it is owned by the same person, so they have a paved lot in the back, but I didn't count that as parking because if somebody comes and rents that building, that will be their parking. But the contractor that he hired to come out and take a look at it said that he could ensure that he could get 12 spaces in the front and 16 spaces in the back.
So you intend to have 28 parking spaces,
Yes.
okay?
Okay, I was concerned as to whether you had any at the time.
No, ma'am, it's not any right there, but like I said, that was part of me coming here to make sure that we could get it approved first, because he didn't want to put the parking there until I could get it approved.
Okay, thank you, Doc.
Those 28 spaces need to be striped,
Yes, sir.
okay? So you're saying you're gonna have at least 28 spaces?
At least 28 spaces.
On site,
On site, yes, sir. Between the front of the building and the back of the building.
front and the rear.
Yes, sir. And that driveway that's in the middle will take you to the back.
Gotcha.
How many students did you say you had?
Right now, we have just 4 in the daytime, and we have about 13 at night. So it fluctuates, but we never have more than 15 in the day or 15 at night.
Okay, thank you.
And so they're never all there at the same time.
Employees park in the back,
Yes, and employees will park in the back, because we'll use the rear access right next to the offices.
okay? Security lighting, what you gonna do about security lighting?
It's a big light in the back. It lights up the whole, really the whole cul-de-sac. It's right in the rear of the building. And then it's another building, 2 doors down. He has lights too, so it's very well lit out there at nighttime.
Okay. All activities are inside the building, correct?
Yes, sir.
You don't
Yes,
have
sir.
any events that might occur?
No, sir, it's a
outside the
cosmetology and barbering school, so everything is done inside.
Right, right. Okay, George, you have a question?
Yes, my question was, there's nothing on, there's no business on this lot right now. These buildings are empty, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but there's a potential for your business and the other building, that could be a separate business.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I wanted to be sure, so there's,
That's why I wanted to make sure that he would agree to make sure that we had enough parking.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want to agree to use their parking because if another tenant came in, that would become their parking and it would leave me with no parking.
okay.
So I wanted to make sure I was covered before I agreed to a lease, either way.
Smart. 01 allows two businesses on the same lot, I guess, I don't,
This is an M1 zoning.
oh, that's an M1? Oh, okay, never mind. All right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, your parking requirements in M1 are minimal.
I'm good.
Yeah. But what you're saying is if another tenant comes and occupies the other building, you're going to have at least 28 for your use.
For my building, yes, sir. That's my thing was I need to have 28 for my building because the parking on the rear of that building is directly behind that building. So that would become their parking. You see what I'm saying? So right now, I would have my 28 plus whatever they have on that side because nobody else is there. But once someone moved in, that will become their parking, which we would just maintain our parking. And we wouldn't worry about trying to share their parking. So that's why I wanted to make sure he would agree to put the parking in the front and in the rear. So we would have sufficient parking for just us in our building.
Okay, all right. Does anyone in the audience care to address this item?
I got it.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The question is that do you expect to expand? You said 15 students?
We don't expect to expand more than having 15 at a time because that was when I opened up my school on the content of having small classes. So I never want to have more than 20 students at a time. Like we generally average 15, but I never would want to have more than 20 students. And by me being the only lead instructor, I can only, according to the state, I can only have 20 students under me at one time.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Williams. Is anyone in the audience care to address this item? I'll entertain a motion, Ms. Brown.
According to the information that we have been given, I move that we grant the special exception to operate the private school.
Have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Mr. Prince, any further discussion or comments? All in favor, raise your hand. You approve.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay, good luck to you. Item number 4 is presented by Jason Martin. Representing Jason and Ashley Martin, requesting a special exception for chickens, goats, horses, and pigs to be located at 3128 Old Summer Road in R75S zoning district. Mr. Martin.
Hello, I'm Jason. I'd like to start by thanking you very much for opening this meeting in prayer. I understand in today's political environment, it can only be hard to do, and I imagine it'll get harder, so thank you very much for that.
Sure.
I'd also like to apologize for you beforehand, as I, unlike the rest of these people, have already committed the offense. So we bought this property back in April.
Speak more clearly.
We bought this property in April, and there was horses down the road and egg signs for sale, and the guy who had it before us had goats and stuff, so we thought it'd be perfectly all right. And me being not so good at all this stuff, I looked at the original, the ordinances that I could find on the website for the city, and I didn't see anything, but I didn't dig deep enough, obviously. So I apologize. What I'm asking for...
So let me interrupt you. These animals are already there.
They're already there. Yes, sir. I'm guilty.
Okay. All right. Well.
So what we have is a 5.5 acre property on Old Selma Road. As you can see from the picture, the middle of it is fairly grown up, and that's where we intend to keep most of them. What we do have is horses, miniature horses. And to give you an idea, I can stand over them, straddle them, flat-footed, and can't touch their back. We have the goats. We have 2 goats and quite a bit of chickens. Now, the use of the chickens, the primary thing was to get rid of bugs. When we first bought the place, it was overrun with ticks and ants and whatnot. And that population has been severely decreased, or significantly decreased, rather. They are now contained in a mobile chicken coop. If you ever heard the term chicken tractor, we move this thing every day. the horses and pigs we contain with electrical fences in smaller areas than this little area here, and they get moved every day. The idea there is that they beat back the brush for us quite a bit too, so I don't have to do all that work myself, and they keep the grass mowed as well. Now, the property falls off. There's already a pretty good hedge along the road, and I'm encouraging that with fertilization, and we're also adding more Leland cypress and some other living fence, if you will, to try to hide any farm look from anybody who would not approve of it. But the big idea to me is that the property goes back pretty far, and the deeper we go into it, the less anybody will ever know. Another benefit to the way we move them is there's no accumulation of smell. The feces and whatnot is dispersed evenly. We also follow the animals in such a pattern to where chicken scratch, and I don't want to go into too much detail here, but it gets taken care of very efficiently. So my petition is that you'd allow me to keep them there. And that's that. I would like to introduce my neighbor, and I haven't had the opportunity to ask him his opinion even, but Mr. Tony there is actually the direct neighbor, and he would be the one with the most, I'd value his opinion more than anything, more than yours. So I'd like to invite him if he don't mind.
I'll give him an opportunity in just a moment, okay? Any questions, board members?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't see anything when I went out there. I didn't see a coop, I didn't see the animals or anything. Is there any way we can carry this over and he allow us to see what he's talking about? Because I haven't seen what he's talking about.
That's the idea, ma'am. I keep it hidden. But I'd be more than happy to let you come see it if that's what you're asking.
I would like to see an animal.
See an animal?
Somewhere.
Well, that's a good request, but we'll hear the petitioner and we'll hear anyone else, and then we'll determine if we
And
have a motion to that effect.
I would like to ask Tanya, did you get any complaints?
This came in as a complaint. This came in as a complaint.
It came in as a complaint?
Yes.
But we don't know if they're here yet.
No.
I'll ask. I'll give anybody an opportunity. Okay. Sir, have you had any of your neighbors that you know of have complained to you about it?
No, sir. Not to me.
No, over any type of odors?
No, what I can imagine has happened, and this is purely speculation. When we first got them, the front, I don't know how well you can tell it from the photograph there, but where the house is itself has a fence around it to keep a dog in. And when we first got them, we let them out in there because, like I was telling you, the insect population was terrible, the grass was tall. We just bought it, and this thing keeps me gone quite a bit, so they're doing the work when I wasn't there. So they were noticeable from the front, from the road. The property also, up to the back of the house, falls off of a hill. They were right up on the hill, they were right in plain sight, and I don't know if that's when the complaint came in or not. They were since moved to the back where they will be permanently. That was a temporary beat back, if you will. And they also, I had another part of that same complaint was we're remodeling the inside of it. So we've got campers set up. When I had my father brought his camper there and was set up right in the front yard, it looked pretty gaudy. I didn't like it myself, and where I had mine set up, I didn't like either. So those were things that were also mentioned in that complaint that we've rectified as well. They were going to happen anyway, so none of that hurts my feelings at all. But the main idea is there's several things we do with these animals. We're beating back the land. We're doing land reclamation with them. My family eats 12 to 18 eggs a day, and we're also on a pretty intense diet to where we use grass-fed eggs and whatnot, free-range eggs, and those get pretty expensive at $5 a dozen. So that's why we like so many birds. And we also feed our infant goat milk as a supplement, so that's part of that. The horses are just grass eaters and kid occupiers. So. And the pigs would be one objection I could understand from people. They have a very specific purpose. In the logging industry, we used to call them wait-a-minute vines. I'm sure you've found those vines, the briars, you pull them up and you break off a little piece of potato. And if you ever dig with those, you find that potato's bigger than this podium. A pig will go down and eat those. And I have a lot of that, and that's what I did with the pigs is to get the roots, because that area in the middle is so grown up you can't walk through it. And we are using them now to constantly beat it back. It's too boggy and wet to get a machine in, and I don't believe in chemicals. I think that's a bad thing. So
Okay, good.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Shaw.
First of all, Senior Master Sergeant Martin, I'd like to thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And I apologize for wearing this. It's not the custom, but I did come straight from work, so.
I can understand.
Forgive me.
But my question is, you said that the animals are already on the property,
Yes, ma'am.
and Ms. Brown, you were unable to see them?
I didn't see anything. I didn't see a coop or any animal.
So you're doing a very good job, I assume, of camouflaging everything that's on the property.
Thank you. It's intentional.
And right now you have what animals do you have already?
Everything. We have 3 miniature horses. And when I say miniature, my dog is bigger than they are.
Right.
We have, I would say, 35 at the very most chickens in there in a rather large coop from me to their square. They get smoothed every day. And we have 2 goats, a milk and goat mama and her little baby. For when we don't milk, she can take care of the rest. And we've currently got 4 pigs, but there was a deal. We're trying to get rid of 2 of those. So, and they're, like I said, they're tearing up the back, eating the roots of the vines we don't want.
You say you have 4 right now?
Yes, ma'am. And that is something we don't intend to keep that many of at all.
Just 2?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
This is the deal we took. We kind of got pushed into that, and that was a very recent. When we actually made the request, we didn't have them.
And you also stated that the owners, the previous owners of this property had
goats on it.
Chickens and.
I can't attest to the chickens. The previous owner passed away. The place sat for several years and years unoccupied, and grew up very badly. But one of my friends was a dear friend of this guy, and he told me that he had a bunch of goats out there before, and there's evidence of old fences and barns and whatnot.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Pritchard, would you like to say something, since you are a neighbor?
He has the best view.
Excuse me?
He has the best view of the property. And right now, we're trying to do a site percentage. He would be the one who would be the eyesore too.
Okay. Do I need to state my name again, or am I good?
I think we got it.
Okay. I'm actually here to contest this, in that, this is a residential area, and, the community is not set up to accommodate a farm. There's a number of issues that I'd like to discuss, or at least touch on. Number one, when you look at the number of animals that are next door, air quality has become a problem. The stench has become extremely bad. I have tenants that are backed up right directly to this property, and they've complained, and some of the other neighbors have complained too. I'm just the messenger, and if the air quality affects me, it affects them. They're closer to it. The second concern that I have is with animal waste and reproduction. Pigs are notorious for a lot of waste. Horses produce up to 30 and 50 pounds of waste a day. So this is a problem for this area. Another concern is going to be runoff, because there are underground wells that we have in place. I know there's one on my lot, there's one on the lot for the neighbor next door. The runoff from the rainwater and stuff like that sort of flows downward onto my property from the field, and I'm concerned about that. Insect infestation, I know that they have chickens out there. The chickens will take care of some of that, but they're not going to take care of all of that. And the manure from the horses and the goats and stuff like that is only going to perpetuate more flies, lice, different types of organism, diseases, etc. So I'm concerned about the environmental impact. As I stated before, the residential area is zoned for residential. It's not the country. And, farms, there's a lot of studies out there that show that farms will and can devalue properties, and especially properties that are immediately adjacent to them. Also, when you look at the number of animals that are being placed over there, you have to think about rodent infiltration as well. So with that, that takes care of the environmental things. There's studies out there that shows that there's a lot of health issues that occur as a result of having a farm in such close proximity. And I've made a copy of the study if any of you would like to look at that, but there are thousands and thousands or hundreds and hundreds of articles on the internet that, really would make one think twice about having a farm next door. Now, as for Master Sergeant Martin, I've met his family. They're wonderful people. So I want to make sure that I'm being soft on the people, but hard on the problems. When you look at the amount of manure that's going to be produced, there's going to be problems with nitrogen. There's going to be problems with phosphorus and other types of both airborne and underground pathogens that we need to concern ourselves with. So when you look at the situation, one of the questions that I ask is how are we going to manage this in terms of the quality of life, the air quality, the effects that it have on people, making sure that the waste is handled properly. On the surface, it seems like it's a great thing, but when you start looking underneath, there's a lot of things and concerns that we have. And last but certainly not least, I truly believe that we need to keep residential areas residential areas. In terms of the history of the lot, I've been in the area 25 years, since somewhere around 1991. There hasn't been any goats on that particular property or any other types of animals. The gentleman who used to own the property and died had a large tractor and a bush hog that he maintained the area. And then since he's died, the area has grown up. So that's my presentation, so I'll defer to your judgment.
Mr. Pritchard, I have a question for you. Are you opposed to any animals, or would you be willing to consider minimizing the population?
Well, when you look at the lot, I think it is a sizable lot. It's probably about the same size as mine. Yeah. Okay. Well, the animals have been right up against my fence. They've been moved over into a more secluded area. But here again, I'm concerned about the stench. And when the wind blows, the stench can become unbearable. And, there are certain areas within the city and county of Montgomery that are designated agricultural. This is not one of them.
So
as
you're
far as I know.
opposed to any animals?
I'm opposed to it.
Even chickens?
Even chickens. We've called the 311 number on some of the tenants who have moved in up and down the street that have had chickens before, and we've had them removed. But when you look at chicken manure, I mean, it's just as potent as horse and goat and any other type of manure. Let me ask you this. If this was your neighborhood, would you approve this request?
Mr. Stanley, I have a question.
Yeah, Ms. Shaw.
Okay. You mentioned something about the runoff, that you have you have a well or something?
Yes, I have a well in my yard, and the neighbor next door has a well.
Do you drink the water from your well?
I use the water for a lot of things. I have city water, but I use the water for a lot of things.
Like watering your grass and
plants and everything else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something about the stench.
Yes.
Is that a problem now?
It's not a problem every day, but there are days when there is a problem. When the temperatures get extremely hot and the wind blows, you can smell it.
You do have that problem from time to time.
Yeah,
right
from
now.
time to time we do have that problem. And here again, he's only been there since April. And how long have the animals been there? Yeah, the animals have only been there for about a month.
Oh, okay. And all.
Okay.
That was all.
Okay, Mr. Hughes?
I have the same question that you had and a comment. We hear chicken requests on this board all the time, and we have approved many, many of them. So I'm going to go back to his question. Are you sure you wouldn't be okay with some of these animals?
I'm sure. I would prefer not to have that problem.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Reese?
Did you say where your property was? Is it to the...
It's directly next to his.
Okay.
On your photograph,
Yeah.
the one, well, in that photograph to the left, directly adjacent.
And you keep referring to tenants. Do you live on that property?
I live on the property, and I have tenants that live on the property as well.
On the same property?
There is a lot next door where I have tenants, which my property line backs up to his, and then the lot next to that is where I live.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Brown?
I would like to make this statement. He asked a good question. According to the number of animals, I can see some, but I can't see the number that is listed here right next door to me, right next door. And he asked a good question. Would you want this next door to you? You've got to stop and think enough, place yourself in the same position as these neighbors. As I rode down the street and was looking at the houses that are living right next door, you can't help but be affected by this many animals on one lot.
Yeah, I live in the city, in the middle of the city, and there's a farm in my neighborhood.
Well, maybe you should protest it. If it's bothering you.
Doesn't bother me.
If it's bothering you, you should protest it. But it is bothering according to, you need to ride out there and look at it. Then you'll get a better understanding of where this neighbor is coming from.
Okay. Mr. Williams?
No, my question is only this, that if it's declared a neighborhood in the community, you can't have both. You can have a farm in the neighborhood too. I mean, you may talk about how many chickens, how many goats, how many hogs, how many dogs, how many what. But if you want some chicken, that's fine. But a farm is a farm, and I don't want a farm in my neighborhood either. I wouldn't have a farm in my neighborhood, no, because it's a neighborhood. You go to the farm, go to the country farm. That's all I would say. So no, I wouldn't want it either, and I wouldn't even approve it myself personally.
Any other questions? Anyone else in the audience care to address this item?
Mr. Chairman.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we delay this till the next meeting to allow them to have an opportunity to get together and possibly try and work something out before we make a ruling.
And
I think it's in the interest of both parties for y'all to try and work something out, because we could rule for him and we could rule for you. But right now, I think if y'all could come to some sort of compromise, it might be better for both parties, because
Well, see, you know, this
because we could rule against you and you'd have 39 chickens, or y'all could come together and maybe have 10 chickens.
Well, you know, I'm the only one here representing, you know, the voices of the people who have a concern. So, you know, I'll take my chances. At the end of the day, this is a residential area, and it should remain a residential area. Not a farm, but a residential area.
All right, we have a motion to delay. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion to delay and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion to delay, raise your hand. 2, 3, 4, 5. All opposed to the motion to delay. Well,
Abstain.
if the motion delay is approved.
Did the others abstain?
Well,
I
all
did.
opposed to the motion, raise your hand. If you abstain, raise your hand.
Okay, got it.
Okay, you got it? 5 to approve the delay, 1 opposed, Steve, and 3 abstain.
Got it.
Okay? All right. So the reason for the delay was to see if y'all can get together on some compromise, and I think Ms. Brown wants to go look.
Yes, I want to look.
Okay.
I
She wants to see some
something.
animals. Now, sir, we understand your situation. We really do. We deal with this all the time, but we deal with approval of chickens in many residential neighborhoods. So I don't know if at the end of the day, y'all agree on whatever. This is going to give y'all that opportunity, and the board would prefer to do it that way. Okay?
Extension
So
goes to the next,
this follows to the next meeting. You'll be number 1 on the item, on the agenda. Okay? Thank you.
It's all right if I come,
yes, ma'am, I can,
All right. Y'all get yelling at. All right, we have a motion to approve the minutes from the last
they
meeting.
all good.
All in favor, say aye.
I
Motion
want
to
to go
adjourn.
with you, Casey.
So moved.